Season 2. What is up, everybody? We're back. Season 2 in a new location. And I got a haircut. You know, just couldn't wait no more. Do it yourself. You act. All right. Well, I am in beautiful Vancouver, downtown, set up, and ready to start this new journey here. Very grateful to have Fire and Flower and Lab Effects on board, nectar extracts. Really wanted to put out a higher quality of a show, so what we've been able to do here is put together kind of bits and pieces and give you guys more of a full package. Each week we're going to talk with one guest and go a little more depth into the whole culinary cannabis thing. And then we're going to look at some and give you guys some tips. So each week we're going to be joined by Taryn Baker of the Little Butcher Shop out in Port Moody. She's going to be giving us some butcher tips. Starting next week, Steve T is going to be coming by with some cocktail recipes, showing little demos on how you can do that at home. And then myself, I'm going to be teaching a new extraction little message here, that our little extraction recipe. We're going to keep it easy. So this week, minimal equipment. We're going to teach you how to infuse coconut milk. And then we'll wrap the show out with a musical performance. Kicking off the first 2 weeks. Very proud of our girl, Jody B out of Kelowna. Serenade us some of her new tracks. But first and foremost, we're going to go off to our interview with Jeff, the 420 chef. They called him the Julia Child of cannabis baking. And the man has been shaking and baking down in California, making things happen. It was a great chance to link up with him and really dive into terpenes with him. So let's head on over to this interview and see what Jeff and I had to say about terpenes.
Jeff, how's it going?
Going good.
Good to connect with you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I just got back to Vancouver last week, and it was funny. I phoned my hairdresser, and I was like, well, "You want to come over, maybe have dinner, and cut my hair?" And she's like, "No, not happening." She's like, "Go shave your head." And I was like, "Okay." So I think I stood in front of the mirror for about 5 minutes with the clipper, being like, "Do I want to do this?" And I'm loving it.
Let me tell you, I'm thinking. I told you I ordered a clipper. It's coming. It's supposed to come on Sunday. I guess Amazon delivers on Sundays now. And I'm planning on doing it sometime early next week. I got a few things I got to do beforehand. I don't want to fuck up my hair too badly because I got a couple other Zoom meeting things I'm doing. But probably by Wednesday, it'll be just like yours. And it's amazing because it grows back anyway. But yeah, I called my guy. And he's like, he's doing them very sporadically, and he's charging more than 5 times what I was paying now. I was paying 25 plus a tip, and he's charging 100 plus, tip and everything else. I'm just like, damn, that's crazy.
I was in San.
I can't afford him now.
I was in San Francisco in December, going to my girlfriend's Christmas party. I wanted to go get a little touch-up done. I went into the salon. I didn't even ask the price. I just wanted to get my hair touched up. It was a tip included $160, but you gave me the price at the end. You're trying to act cool, like it's no big deal, but you're like,
Well, were you happy with the results? That's all that matters. If it was worth $100, did it look like $100 haircut? That's what you have to ask yourself.
Well, that's the thing is, it was just a touch-up, so it wasn't a real cut. So no, I wasn't happy. I was bitter, and I'm still bitter about it.
And look, you did it for free, so there.
Right? Yes. Yeah.
I've been researching home haircut videos and that's clippers and all these different things. I'm just like, I'm gonna shoot it the right way, but it takes a little bit of time to get your balls on the table to do it.
Absolutely. So great to reconnect with you. It's funny when I started doing the Instagram thing. 6-7 weeks ago. It was more to keep myself busy, and I think the best thing to come out of it was all these new relationships that were sort of formed. One of them that I have is with Fire and Flower, and they really love sort of what I was doing with the show. So we've decided to kind of move it over here to YouTube and start adding a little more education in. Being that today's Thursday, we like to do Terpene Thursdays. So I thought maybe you and I could talk a little bit about terpenes. I know unless you're really in the cannabis scene, or you're a cannabis aficionado, you may have heard terpene before, but you may not fully understand it. So that's kind of been my big push over the last year is really starting to incorporate them into foods. I'm really looking at infused dining, cannabis cooking. How do we appeal to the masses? And as much as I love, my infused edibles or whatever I put THC into, in my opinion, the real future is going to be with terpenes and CBD. And I guess just to sort of start things off, what sort of, in the years you've been doing this, how much of terpenes kind of played the role of when you're creating recipes or doing events?
So it's funny that you're asking me this question. For me, terpenes are very, very complicated to work with as a chef.
Yeah.
Majority of edibles out there that have that really weedy taste, that taste is due to burnt terpenes, chlorophyll, and flavonoids. That's why every single edible you eat, for the most part, at least commercial edible, tastes exactly the same. It doesn't matter whether it's a cookie or it's a meatloaf. If it has cannabis in it, it has that cannabis taste. That cannabis taste are the burnt terpenes. So for me, my first step was, let's remove the cannabis terpenes from the cannabis before I infuse them into my butter and oil, because your body doesn't know the difference between a cannabis terpene and a regular terpene. So for example, limonene that's found in cannabis is also found in citrus fruits like lemons and limes. So what I started doing was, once I removed the terpene from the strain that I was using, and I was just left with the THC to infuse into my edibles, I then took the terpene profile that was originally in that plant and I recreated it with food items. For example, a key lime pie, right? If it had pinene and, let's say pinene and limonene, I would do, something with citrus in it, and then I would maybe do a basil pesto, which would be pinene. So, that's the way that I was getting around for the longest time. I really started lately figuring out ways that I can really take the actual terpene profile from something like forbidden fruit, which is one of my favorite strains to smoke, and instead of removing the terpenes before I cook with it, figuring out how to make a butter or an oil that literally have that taste of the forbidden fruit. It's very complicated because each terpene evaporates and burns off at a different temperature. So the only way to really do it and to really get the cannabis terpene taste. So if you want your butter or oil to taste like forbidden fruit, is at a very low temperature for a longer period of time, and then you've really got to test it all the time to make sure you haven't crossed that threshold, the tipping point into the burnt terpene taste, right? It's complicated. It can be done, and I've done it, and I'm doing it. But and I'm sure you can do it. Chefs who know what they're doing and the science behind taking the plant itself and infusing that into butter and oil is the way you would do it. I would never take one of these liquid terpenes that they're selling right now and just drop it in food. Not something I would do.
No, and I think you touched on a really good point. It's something I've been preaching here for the last year, was the whole decarb method. I think it's not a true method. If you want to get high as fuck, then that's the way to go. And if you go and you Google, how do I make my brownies? Everything out there says decarb, right? And people ask me, well, why is the education that way? And I said, because a chef has never taken cannabis and said, how do I get this original flavor and aroma? It's always been, how high can I get this brownie, right?
Yeah.
So And that's really, you know, I had a chance to work with Chef Cedeno from 20 Past 4 in New York, and he was the first chef that I see that skipped the decarb process and went straight into his butter or his oil with the flour. And the yields, the flavor, the aroma, it was so much more beautiful. And that really kind of got my mind thinking. And you're exactly right. We almost want to isolate the THC, the CBD, and then we're going to find ways to build that sort of flavor back into it. One thing I've started doing is if we are looking at a strain that's very high in limonene and we want to get that citrus flavor through, you know, when we're actually making our butter, we can start taking lime peels, lemon peels, adding that into the butter with the actual flour.
Mm-hmm.
So just like we're seasoned with salt, we can slowly build that flavor profile up as we, you know, work our way to the final product in the dish.
By the way, I'll give you a trick. You don't even have to do that. You can take that butter and oil, and right at the end when it's done, you just zest it, and or you know how you twist it and you get the oils, right? They get out of the peel. Just do that into your butter and oil. It's super potent. It's a powerful taste, and it tastes exactly like whatever. And those are the terpenes. You know what I mean? So you know the essential plant oils are terpenes. Right? So it's the same thing. So if you're taking peel of a lemon or a lime, and if you twist it, you see that fine spray that sprays off of the peel. If you just do that into your butter or oil, you instantly have that taste. So again, though, it's not that pure cannabis taste, but you're replicating the limonene that you have already in that bud that you're now taking that from an existing natural source, a plant or a fruit, right? A peel, and then you're adding that back into your oil or your butter, and that's how you're going to get that, you know, more of a lime, lemony taste into it without cooking them off. The big challenge is the heat and burning them off. You know, terpenes burn off between 100 and 200 degrees. When we cook usually between 325 and 475, right? So let's hit the sweet spot, which is 350 that everybody knows about. At that point, you've burnt off those terpenes that you have spent so much time trying to replicate in your butter or oil. So I really only use the flavored oils as a finishing oil, or I'll use it for salad dressing or whatnot. I won't cook with them, because the second you cook oil that has natural cannabis terpenes in it, you get that burnt weedy taste again.
And as you know, I mean, natural cannabis-derived terpenes are not cheap. Right? I mean, botanical terpenes are a lot more accessible and cheaper. And I always say to people, if you're starting off with terpenes, use botanical terpenes, learn to play with it. There's a couple things you got to take into mind. It is an essential oil, so it's very, very potent. What I've found is the perfect amount of terpenes in a sauce can really wake your palate up. Mm-hmm. Right? It really just kind of brings your attention. But one drop too many, and you'll burn your palate. You'll ruin the sauce. So it's a very precise.
Somebody sent me these, okay? These terpenes, so I'm just going to pull one out. I don't even know what I'm pulling out right now. Let me just see. God bless my glasses here, okay? So this is
that from Lab Effects?
This is sour diesel. It's from Floraplex.
Okay, yeah.
This is sour diesel. So I open this up. It doesn't smell anything like sour diesel. Okay, right. I'm just saying, there is a hint, but there's always this odor or taste, or there's something that they're putting in here. I'm going to say that there's a base of, I don't even know what it is, but it's almost like a chemically taste or smell. I've tried these in my edibles, you know, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work to add in these terpene drops to your food. It's, you know, I'm natural plant to table. I'm sure you're natural plant to table. You know, chefs who are literally working with the plant are the ones that are actually cannabis chefs. The ones that are taking, and this is no offense to anybody who uses concentrates to add into their oil or shatter or wax or whatever. It's a very, very different thing, because those are people that are looking to, like you said earlier, just increase the potency and the THC. CBD is even, they're only putting CBD in because, you know, it's the thing now. You know, whereas cannabis chefs that are truly working with CBD are working with the plant directly. I mean, look, I invented culinary, not only culinary cannabis, but we have culinary hemp, which again mimics herbs like oregano and rosemary and thyme. Use it the same exact way, but culinary hemp is chock full of CBD. It's inherently chock full of CBD. So we don't have to worry about the FDA saying, hey, you're not allowed to add CBD into food. You can't make a CBD ketchup, but we can totally sell culinary hemp flower the same way stores sell sell hemp seed every single day, all night, and give people a way to get that CBD into their system, right? So when it comes to, let's go back to terpenes for a second, it's really all about acknowledging the fact that it's a very volatile substance. The terpenes, they burn out very quickly. And if you really want to engage your palate and engage yourself with the terpenes, finding ways of getting those terpenes into your body while keeping the integrity of the terpene intact. And the only way to do that is to keep it at a very low temperature, do an infusion, but don't cook with it. Once it's done, use it as a finishing oil or use it as like a salad dressing oil or something.
Yeah, no, that's definitely it. It's more designed, I think, for colder sauces, salad dressings. I've actually got my hands on a Paco Jet. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but that's it.
What is it? Tell me, show me.
The Paco Jet. Okay, so Paco Jet is a $6,000 blender.
What?
But what it does is the blade spins so fast it aerates, right? So you can make butter from cream with it. You can make your chilies, your sauces, but you can also make ice cream.
Nice.
A really wide variety. And this is where I'm finding terpenes are actually a great place, especially if you're doing a 4-course meal, you finish with dessert. And I really want to hit you with that cannabis aroma and flavor. And I'm finding ice cream is a perfect vessel to carry terpenes over, as well as cocktails. When I do my events, I do THC in my food, and then I do CBD beverage pairing. And I might put one alcohol dish in, but usually it's like kombucha or a chilled tea or something, because I really want people to focus on the cannabis. I mean, alcohol has its place, but 99% of the people who come to my dinners have never been to a cannabis dinner before. So, I want them to measure the cannabis experience against their regular dining experience, where they may have a wine pairing with it. So, right now I'm actually, I gotta say, like, your cookbook, big inspiration. I've just recently picked it up to publish mine, and I'm working on it. And my real focus is looking at superfoods as our vessel to introduce cannabis. So back before the whole COVID outbreak happened, I had an opportunity to go out to the Chef to Chef conference in Charlotte, North Carolina. So this was a conference for country club executive chefs. There were 450 there, and I got up in front of them because they wanted to know, why are members going to want CBD, right? They're like, tell us. 80% of our clientele are, right-wing conservatives who right now probably look at cannabis as still, it's an illegal drug, right? So why are we going to want CBD? And when I went in there, I said, I think THC, it has its place, but as I was saying earlier, the real future is in with CBD, it's in with terpenes. And when we look at not really so much the blends of terpenes, but the, individual terpenes that have these certain therapeutic, effects on the body, when we start combining them with CBD and we get that entourage effect happening, we can now start creating, dishes and meals that have a purpose. So, a couple examples. You're out playing golf for 4 hours, you're out in the sun, you walked that day, you didn't take your golf cart around. So your body's a little sore because you've done a ton of walking. Well, what a great dish to have. Then take, a beautiful piece of salmon with some broccolini, some nice healthy vegetables, and we add in, some pinene to help with some inflammation and some body rejuvenation, relaxation, and some CBD, so that people will actually feel the benefit of the dish coming out of it. And by using superfoods as our vessel, we can't make the medical claims with CBD. We can't make medical claims with cannabis, but I can with ginger and turmeric and salmon and spinach, right? So I think the best way to really push this into the mainstream and accepted, by all sides is to try and show it in a different light. So that's kind of been what.
Also, I think giving. I think education is really the key, and like you said, there are certain terpenes that have certain benefits. And, obviously, if you're going to use them, you have to use them intelligently. You can't just say, oh, this strain had pinene in it, so now it's going to be anti-inflammatory. It's bullshit. Because unless you take that pinene and unless you work with it properly to get it in there so that it's still got its integrity intact, it's not going to help anybody, right? So I agree 100%. I think CBD is also something that, look, it's a big buzzword now. Everyone's doing CBD. Our culinary hemp, we've already got a major retailer that can't wait for it. Our packaging is almost done for it. It's crazy, right? Because CBD is this big, it's definitely one of the most beneficial substances on the planet. But when you said superfood, the fact is, it is a superfood, right? Cannabis is a superfood and hemp is a superfood. So, what we're doing is we're taking that and we've created edible flower, right? No one's ever done that before, where you can actually eat the flower and get the benefits of the CBD. But when we're going to be adding in the terpenes, or, like where you want to add in terpenes, then people have to be really smart about how they do that. And I think you're really cool. Maybe you and I should, do a joint video. It'd be a lot of fun to do that. I don't know how we would do it. I guess maybe even like this, where we could create cold terpene infused oils or butters or whatnot that you can then use on your, salmon, like you suggested. There's ways to do it, and how to make a cold sauce. Maybe we do the cold infusion and then we push it over to the cold sauce, and then you use it. It's so easy to do a mustard basil sauce or whatever, for your fish. It's just, there's a lot that you can do with it. And all of a sudden you want to add back in limonene. Everybody puts lemon on fish. It's right there in front of you, but explaining to the guests or explaining to the cook, that it's there in front of you. You're already using it. Here's the benefits, and here's how to maximize those benefits. Something I found out was that if you take a lemon and you squeeze lemon juice into something, sure, there's a little bit of pinene in that. But if you take, like I said earlier, that peel and you twist it to get out the zest, there's a whole shitload of limonene in there. So people, we can teach them that, and people can see, wait a second, how do I get these different, these different terpenes into my food while maintaining the integrity of the terpene?
Yeah, actually what we're doing is in June, I'm launching virtual cooking lessons. So we're going to take up to 20, 25 guests through Zoom. I will give everyone a list of ingredients that need to go out. Our partner, Fire & Flower, will support with the cannabis so they can go into the retail store, purchase their flower legally. And we're going to do these cooking classes, indoors and connect with people. Actually, this month, and later on in the show today, we're going to pick 4 winners. The first class we're going to do for 12 people, just going to be all people that have tuned in to watch this show. So more of a reason to check out our Instagram page and enter the contest so that you could be one of the first ones doing this class. But, for myself, and I'm sure for you as well, isn't this exciting to be at the forefront of something new?
Yeah, I tell you, I've been doing this for a long time, officially. Since 2014, when that first article came out and I got my cookbook deal and really came onto the scene that wasn't even a scene at the time, and now we're getting ready to open the world's first cannabis cafe, which has always been a dream of mine. So being on the cutting edge is awesome until that edge kind of has a wall in front of it, like COVID-19, and we're kind of like stuck. But the cool thing is that even though we know that we have this going on, we can teach people right now until we can open up. We have there's so much of a connection now between us and our fan base and our followers that I think we didn't have time before. Now we have all the time in the world to connect with people. And I'm sure you're in the same boat as I am. I'm answering emails all day, all night from people, whereas, I struggle to find time to answer 3 or 4 emails a day before now. I I do.
Yeah, this is totally restructured everything we're doing. The goal of Nomad Cook was always a culinary cannabis brand that, like yourself, supplied ingredients for chefs and that. And all this is done. I mean, for the last 4 years, I've been stuck in the, I won't say stuck, but I've been traveling the country doing pop-ups. In the last 2 years, I've served 4,000 Canadians their first use dining experience. So to me, the events were always a promotion of the brand, of the products.
Yeah.
And now having to realize that there's no events for another year. You know, I may do private dinners for 8 people, but that's going to be it. So we had to very quickly accelerate our plan. And, you know, by this fall up in Canada, we're going to have, you know, at least some edibles come out in the stores. The biggest problem we have right now is all of our edibles are restricted to 10 milligrams, and you can only purchase 10 packages per visit. So I have a tolerance of 300 to 400 milligrams.
Yeah. Here in California, I would say, you know, I don't know about your guests in Canada, but I would say that 99% of the guests that I serve here in the States, they're fine with 5 to 10 milligrams in a meal. They don't want to get back. They just want to have a good time. You know, I mean, I'm also more of a high dose guy because my tolerance has been completely lifted for the, you know, whatever I do. But I'm totally fine also with 10 milligrams, you know, so I get it, you know, and everything that we're doing, you'll start seeing, we're just getting ready to open up a manufacturing facility, finally a licensed manufacturing facility here in Van Nuys. And we're going to be manufacturing these little packs of our culinary cannabis, 2.5, 5, and 10 milligrams, so that you can literally dose yourself. And I'll tell you, the biggest reason behind that is do it yourself is what everybody's doing now, because you can't go out to any of our events, number one. Number two, a lot of people have been scared of it. So my mission since starting has always been to make cooking with cannabis as well as the cannabis consumption experience simple and easy for everyone. So for starters, we came up with the light tasting canna oil and canna butter, so you don't have to worry about that terrible taste in your edibles. Then we came up with a calculator to allow you to figure out just how potent your butter or oil is, so you know how much to use to dose yourself or your guests, right? And then we came out with a cookbook to give you the recipes and how to do it. Now we're coming out with the actual ingredients. So the culinary cannabis that allows you, for example, if you're serving 4 people 10 milligrams, you can use 4 10-packs of our no oregano to make an amazing pasta sauce that has 0 cannabis taste. The oregano taste is coming from the cannabis that through molecular astronomy we've made taste like oregano. So we've made it really easy for people, and I'm hoping we're able to bring this to Canada as well, and maybe we can figure out a collaboration of some sort. But we'll have it here in California within the next month or so.
How important do you think it is for the American market, for the Canadian market to succeed with legalization?
It's the most important thing in the world. I mean, you know, right now there's so many illegal and illicit businesses, and I get it because we were all in that spot, you know, and it took a humongous leap of faith for those of us in the legal space to jump in and say, I'm going to do this legally with all this oversight and the taxes and, you know, not making the same kind of money, you know, that, you know, the illicit market makes, and, you know, just going at it because we really see the benefit to the people in the mainstream. And I think that if it goes back underground, we're going to lose so many people that are now finally really okay with cannabis and seeing the beauty of the plant and the health benefits of the plant. They're actually using it for the right way. And what's going to happen is unless we really build up the legal structure and a legal business structure here as an industry, right? There's a big chance that we're going to lose a lot of those people.
Yeah, no, you know, we, as soon as Canada became legalized, I mean, I'll tell you a quick little story. The very first cannabis dinner I did was 4/20 in 2018. So this was 6 months before we legalized. In March, I was standing at a bus stop. There was a newspaper, and on the front page was Chef Chris Soleil of the Herbal Cook, and he was coming to Vancouver to do a cannabis dinner in April, 5 months before legalization. I looked at that, I was like, man, if someone from other countries coming to do this now, I'm gonna do it. So I turned my house into a pop-up, and I had 164 people over 4 days in groups of 12. So we were flipping that table 5 times a day. And you know, here's what I thought. All my guests are gonna be young 20-year-old males who like to smoke a lot of pot. Well, of my 4,000 guests, my average age is 38. I'm 57% female, and I have a 19% first-time cannabis users. So, especially when we legalize, there all of a sudden is this huge demographic that goes, the word's legal now, I'm okay with it. That's all that needed to happen was we got 2 letters, I know, and it's legal, and all of a sudden there's a huge demographic that's willing to give it a try. A lot of people aren't going to turn to smoking if they're later on in life, you know, a little bit older. Smoking is not the way to introduce cannabis. It's going to be through food. And what we really strived to do was we provided an experience for you. You may have come because you wanted to eat cannabis and get a little stoned and see what it was like, but we had live music. We educated you. We sat you with some people that you had nothing in common with. By the end of the night, you're trading phone numbers, you're becoming friends. It was really, my first 3 dinners, I was like, do not call me a cannabis chef. I'm not a cannabis chef. I'm just doing my pop-ups. But then I started seeing how much fun I was having, how my tables were literally like 20-year-olds and 60-year-olds getting along the whole time. And I kept having more and more fun. And at some point I just said, you know what, this isn't a fad. There's something here with it. And when it's done properly and shown, I mean, stoner culture has its place, but we're not going to advance culinary cannabis by enforcing old stigmas and stereotypes and that. We need to show it in a light where that conservative couple that, you know, likes to go and have a, you know, expensive meal and that, they still want that experience. And if we can give that to them.
It's all about accessibility, right? You know, I mean, stoner culture excludes all the non-stoners, right? Stoners like to be loud about what they do. So, you know, and I'll tell you, I was a stoner, and you know, I'm very proud of it. But there's ways to use cannabis, and there's ways to bring everybody else on board with us, and it's not excluding them because they're not within quote unquote stoner culture. You know, this is a plant that's made for everybody. God created this plant when he created the earth, and it had been wholly legal until 1937, which is the craziest thing about it. You know, if you think about the fact that everybody had in their little medicine cabinet, a little bottle of tincture of cannabis sativa that basically they used for anything that ailed them, whether it was arthritis or it was migraines or even they would rub it on for psoriasis. It was always in their medicine cabinet. And then when this whole thing happened and they, you know, started to make it illegal, you know, the whole, you know, war against the minorities, and I mean, it literally was the Mexicans.
It was the cotton lobby. It was the cotton lobby that demonized hemp because hemp lasts longer than cotton.
It wasn't the cotton lobby. It was the cotton lobby. It was Hearst. You know, he bought a whole deforest for his paper. You know, I mean, people were using paper. It was medicine. I mean, there are the 5 major industrialists out there. And William Randolph Hearst's son-in-law was a guy named Anslinger, who not only demonized and made cannabis illegal here in the U.S., but he flew all over the world signing treaties with every single country to make cannabis illegal in every single country. And now look at all the harm that it caused. You know, so thank God we're in this place where we're at kernel. You know, I feel like one of these states, California, or countries like Canada, we're kernels that are ready to pop in the whole world pop. You know what happens? When one kernel pops, they all start popping. They have a beautiful bowl of pops, right? So I think, you know, we're definitely on that, in that place. We're just not there yet. We're close, but we're not there.
Yeah. And I always say, you know, there's definitely frustration with the amount of regulation that's put up. I understand that though, and I always put this analogy to everyone, and I'll kind of finish up with this. It's much easier to peel away one piece of red tape than it is to try and stick all your fingers in the holes of the dam, right? And so I understand the Canadian government's standpoint, and what we need is people to really step up and show by example. And I always say, for every successful event that Nomad Cook has done, we're like one step closer to this becoming normal, because we're bringing in the right demographic of people that emails was, I didn't say anything stupid. I remember everything I said, and I woke up without a hangover.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Look, you know, I mean, we were doing events all the time. It was really exciting for us, you know, but the best part about it was, like you said, bringing people in that were just regular, you know, non-stoner culture, cannabis curious, cannabis enthusiasts, cannabis aficionados, people that really wanted to get there, investors that wanted to find out more about it, that wanted to experience it. you know, and we had so many people, and you're right, you know, women were a big part of our demographic. I've you know, fed over 4,000 people, you know, over the years, and you know, we've done some amazing things and amazing events, you know, and I love to say it, but I also hate to say it. It's super normal here in California, just like it's super normal in Canada, but it's not super normal in a state like Alabama, you know. And I had a friend of mine's sister come to one of our dinner parties from Alabama. She was shaking. She was afraid she was going to be arrested at any moment, and that we were all going to be arrested because we're doing this. I'm like, look, it's legal here in California. We can, if it's done the right way, and there's a way to do it, there's a way not to do it. You know, we do it the right way. You know, where we actually make the host give us the cannabis, we process it for them, make it into butter or oil for free, and give it back to them. And then they hire us for our culinary expertise to create dinner parties with them, and then to you know, we get to use their ingredients. You know, we know what we're doing, so we do it. So, but we have to, you know, do that in order to make it work. So, you know, it's really weird. We have to do this, you know.
Yeah, we're lucky in Canada because we can carry an ounce with us at all times. And I'll remember when we first legalized, I flew with an ounce because I wanted to see what would happen. So I had an ounce in my pocket, and there was a family in front of me that I swear must have been from the south of the States, because the mom's like, "Do you smell that?" I was like, "Yeah, I smell it." And they're like, I think it's marijuana. And I went, "Oh, it is." And I pulled it out of my pocket, and the look on their face.
Oh my God, it was
they're all of a sudden, you think it's social distancing. They're getting 6 feet in front of me. They don't want me to hear me. We get up to the tray part, and they watch me put that ounce right in the tray with my wallet, cell phone, and everything. And it goes through the machine. I put it back in, and they're like, and I was like, I love being Canadian.
Yeah, you know, I tell you, in LA, you can fly with food as well. It's just that when you get to your destination, it's always illegal. You know, so they don't check out. They don't check, you know, out of LAX. But again, you know, like so many people do it. But that's the whole thing. We're bringing it to normal. Normalcy is what it's all about. So anyway, this is a lot of fun. I'm really glad we did this.
Yeah, no, Jeff, I really appreciate doing this. I'm glad, I know a couple of weeks you had a little scare there with possibly being sick. I'm glad you're good and okay. And I hope the family and everyone's doing well. And I definitely looking forward. We've got some collabing to do together here in the future once things get back to normal.
Oh, absolutely. We'll just keep doing what we're doing. It sounds great. I thank God I'm fine now. You know, I mean, I tested negative. Who knows what that means? But I'm pretty sure I had it back in February when a lot of people thought they had it too. So who knows?
I think so as well.
Thank God we're good.
Great. Well, again, Jeff, thank you so much, man. Have a great day, and we'll connect with you again soon.
Thanks, Travis. You too. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
Cheers. Yeah. Bye. Hi, I'm Chef Travis Peterson of the Nomad Cook, and today we're going to learn how to make an infused coconut.
There we go. Everyone, that's Robert. He's the Wizard of Oz on the back end, doing all the magic, making this all happen. It's our second time through. So, Robert, good job so far. How about that, Jeff the 420 Chef? Thanks so much for making some time. It's great to have someone up there that, you know, for myself to kind of look at and see what he's done, you know, over the last 6 years. You know, Californians had such a head start. And, you know, it's just great to kind of see where he's gone, what he's doing, the way he's got a product line coming out. Really gives me someone to kind of look up to. So really, really appreciate him sharing his time and coming to chat with me. It was pretty insightful. So we got a couple things to go on to. First, I just want to mention, if you're from Alberta, Manitoba, or Ontario, Fire and Flower has their Fastlane app. You can go on, order your cannabis before going to the store. So when you get there, it's ready for you. You pay for it when you're there. And if you're actually in Ontario, Toronto as well, they've got curbside delivery. So you can just get that brought right to you. Practicing social distancing at its best. Guys, we're almost there. The country's announcing its phased reopening plans. I got, you know, yesterday BC announced, and you know, tons of messages from people looking at doing little dinner parties. I know we're all very eager to start reconnecting again, but let's all remember to wash our hands and still, you know, as they're saying, we can double our bubble. right? Double your bubble. All right, so we announced a couple days ago on Instagram, Facebook, we're going to do a virtual cooking lesson on the 25th and 26th, or the 26th and 27th, the Tuesday and Wednesday of the end of May there. We're taking 12 lucky people, and we're going to do, each day is an hour long. The first day, we're going to make our cannabis extracts. Second day, we're going to make a dish. And it'll be fun. We'll get 13 of us all on a Zoom call, and you got any questions on that, you're able to really ask. It's almost like a private cooking lesson in your own home. So we've got 4 winners to announce today. These were all chosen from Facebook and from Instagram. We will announce, this post will be made every week. So all you got to do is go on, tag 2 friends, follow Fire and Flower, and you might win. Okay, so Trish Hainsley, you're our first winner. 89 Magpie, you're our second winner. Rachel Carriel, you're our third winner. And Lauren Atchie, you're our first 4 winners. So we'll shoot you a DM. We'll let you know all the deets. And if you want to come join us, go on into your name. All right, so coming up next, we're just going to start giving you guys a little bit of tips. So I wanted to teach you guys how to make and infuse coconut milk using bare minimal equipment. Anyone can do this. The problem with this format, and why I suggest against it if you're going to be cooking for others, or if you don't really have a high tolerance level, is you're not accurately going to know your dosage here, right? The safest way to go about it, get yourself a sous vide, get yourself a Levo machine. With those 2 pieces of equipment, you're going to have a lot smaller of a variable when it comes to knowing what your cannabis is, cannabis dosing in it. So for this, all you need is a pot, a metal bowl, some cannabis, some coconut milk. We're going to add some lemongrass in there. Lemongrass is high in myrcene. Myrcene helps increase the effects of THC when we start to bond that entourage effect. So we're going to check that out. And then Karen Baker from the Canadian National Butchers team, the owner of the little butcher shop, is going to teach us some butcher tricks.
Hi, I'm Chef Travis Peterson of the Nomad Cook, and today we're going to learn how to make infused coconut milk. top. We're left with about a cup of infused coconut milk. We have about 13 milligrams per tablespoon here. I always recommend getting your infusions lab tested. I use Canvas Analytics here in Vancouver. Check Google to see what's near you.
All right. Infused coconut milk. That's good. All right, next up, Taryn Baker, the Little Butcher. It's coming. It's coming, I swear. Oh!
I apologize. It's just a process. Anyway, it's coming up right
We're
now.
learning. We're learning.
We're going to flip the whole chicken onto its breast side, and holding it upright by the tail, we're going to firmly press down with the top half of the knife, wiggling it a bit. It should open up on one side and then about 3/4 of an inch to an inch on the other side. Same thing, press down firmly with the top half of the knife. It should come out fairly easy. And make a small incision in the top of the center breastbone here. You can kind of crack either side off and run one finger down either side of this cartilage bone. It should come off pretty easy. And then we're just going to trim up any extra fat or skin. And that's about it. You can tuck the wings behind the breast if you'd like to, and this should cook in about 45 minutes in the oven or on the barbecue. All right, to take it even further, we're going to come up down around the armpits of the chicken and around the socket joint, and come to the other side, down the armpit of the chicken and around the joint. For the legs, we'll flip it over to the top. You'll find where there's a bit of a seam between the breast and the leg. Run your knife along there to split the skin, and it should come off fairly easy. Same thing on the other side. Run your knife down where it separates. Then just trim up the breast of any excess skin, fat, or bones, and that should be ready to go onto the barbecue. For the legs, there's still a bit of bone attached on the side, so again, find the seam where the bone is. Run your knife along the seam, and you should be able to pop this bone away from the joint and cut down one more time. Separate the drum and the thigh, find the joint with your finger, and cut down firmly. One more time, find the seam, run your knife along the seam, crack the bone out of the joint, and cut down one more time. Separate the drum and the thigh, find the joint with your finger, it should be in the middle, and cut down firmly. For the wings, you want to find kind of a V. You should cut down firmly, right in between the joints to separate all three pieces. All right, there we have a fully cut up chicken with excess bones. And never throw those bones away because you can make great super stock.
All right. Now, I asked Taryn to start with the whole chicken. You can go to your local butcher, preferably the Little Butcher Shop in Port Moody. You can get yourself a whole chicken for around $14. Okay, and if you think about it, there's anywhere from 2 to 3 meals per chicken in there. You got 2 breasts, right? There's 1 meal if you're going to eat with someone else. You've got the thighs and wings and the drumstick. Those all can be used as a second meal, as a snack. But the best part is all those bones are left over. And you can create a beautiful stock. I always say, there's such a big difference between a soup stock that comes out of Campbell's box and a stock that comes that you've made. You've got all those natural fats in there. It's just going to add so much flavor. And hey, watching that, did you think you can break a chicken down that easily? She just does it just so. Whoop. I should be able to do that too. I'm practicing. So, anyways, Taryn, thank you very much. So every week we've got a tip from the Little Butcher. Go check her out on Instagram at the Little Butcher Promo. Go check her out. So, last but not least, we're going to bring on my favorite Canadian musician, the badass queen from Kelowna, grew up in Calgary, busking on 8th Ave there, and now she is living in Kelowna, running the studio at Frequency Winery. She is fucking uber talented. Her name is Jody B. Ladies and gentlemen, Jody B.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jody B. I'm based out of Kelowna, and I specialize in live looping. This is my song called Words. Yeah. Break trust for the money. Text you for the show. Break free from the routine and watch me roll. I'm living for the coffee breaks and downtime. Living for the weekend and sunshine. Call this a daily grind. Start choosing your words, get off the ground. Yeah. Start choosing your words, get off the ground. Start choosing your words, get off the ground. Start choosing your words, get off the ground. Break trust for the money. Takes two for the show. Break free from the routine and watch me roll. I'm living for the coffee breaks and downtime. Living for the weekend and sunshine. Call this a daily grind. The daily grind. Start choosing your words, get off the ground. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, Jody B. Man, do I miss you, and I miss doing our events. She's talented, man. She's just talented. All right, so there we go, season 2, Cooking with the Nomad Cook. First episode in the bag. I want to thank Jeff, the 420 chef. I want to thank Taryn Baker from the Little Butcher Shop. I want to thank Jody B. And a big shout out to Lab Effects, CBD Global, Nectar Extracts, and Fire and Flower. Don't forget, go check out their Fastlane app for curbside delivery in Ontario and easy ordering in Manitoba and Alberta. All right, we've got another show coming up next week, 4:20 Pacific time, Thursday. Come join us. We got another guest. We got some more tips. We got some more butcher tips. We're going to be adding a little bit of cocktail in. It's some fun. And, my man, Predator, Bobby D. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Wash your hands! Wash your hands.